Hey everyone, Cowabunga here. Today I have decided that I'm going to finally talk about my thoughts on Multiversus and the closed beta that I played. Yeah, it was a funny story about the closed beta. I didn't think I was going to get a code, but I got one like a day before the beta actually went live, and I didn't know it until the day of the beta, and I was like, oh crap. So yeah, and that was fun. That was fun. So I'm finally going to sit down and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the closed beta. Um, just as the open beta is going to be coming out here within the next month. It's taken a while for this to happen, mainly just because I am a very busy boy. But I think giving myself the time has actually helped me get my thoughts together in a way in my head. This is unscripted, so apologies if I go on full on rants here for a little bit, but I do have a bit of a structure. I figure since it's a little bit of a review, I'm going to categorize some things. For example, I'm going to be talking about gameplay, I'm going to be talking about visuals, we talk about the audio, miscellaneous things, longevity, since this is a free-to-play game, that's important, and then online as well, since they want to make the best online game ever. That is from the words of the director. They want to have the best online experience of any game. So we're going to judge them on all these different things, and I'm basically just going to go off on a bunch of rants probably, but I hope you guys enjoy it, and leave a like if you like Multiversus, just like me. Oh no, spoiler alert, I like it. But yeah, who played this game and said it's trash, right? Like there's a lot of things going for this game. So let's just talk about it now. I guess first we'll talk about the gameplay, and I will go a bit general at first, and then I'll get into the nitty-gritty of things, and this is probably what I'm going to be talking about the most, so get ready. So for gameplay, when I was playing 2v2s with my friend, I was extremely surprised at how fast he was able to pick this game up and play it. When he plays Smash Brothers, he's a bit of like a masher, you know. I was extremely surprised to see how fast he picked this game up and just how well he was doing just after a couple matches. I was expecting to, just play doubles and just have some chaotic fun, but it turns out that after a couple games, he was actually, not only catching up with me, but doing better in some matches, which is just crazy to me. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I wasn't expecting him to get into it so much. He's a Steven Universe guy, so he's playing Steven for basically the whole beta outside of right at the very beginning when he didn't have him unlocked. I was very surprised by that, and I think the best thing about this game probably would just have to be how easy it is to pick up and play. And I think it's not too hard to get into. It's definitely hard to master, but I think that the complexity in interactions is pretty like small. Like what you have to master is just very little things, because for the most part this game, it seems pretty straightforward, and I think that can be backed up just by the idea of my friend just being able to pick it up and do just as good as me. And I play platform fighting games constantly. He only plays them like once every blue moon, And I think that's a really, really good thing. And speaking of 2v2s, that is the intended game mode that you're supposed to be playing in this game. And when you play it with a friend, man, it's super fun. Me and my friend were just having a lot of fun just playing the game, and sometimes, getting those moments where we team up to kill somebody, or we have to like strategize just a little bit and say we gotta target this guy now or else we're gonna lose. And having 2v2s be the primary thing instead of 1v1s is pretty unique. Revolving your game around that is very cool and interesting, and I think it makes for a very different platform fighting game, which I like. I like how different this game is. The general philosophy of this game is to be a simple game that two people can play together. Everybody's movesets kind of revolve around 2v2 combat, but that doesn't necessarily mean 1v1 is completely abandoned or anything. It just means that you're going to be able to like heal your partner, or to buff them, or to debuff other enemies, or to put yourself where your partner is, or to bring them to you, and stuff like that. Really cool, and I think it's really dynamic, really fun to play and fun to experiment with. Even the more straightforward characters who don't necessarily buff their teammates, they're still pretty fun to play in 2v2s. I must say it's just a lot of moving parts, but it's really interesting. And I'd say the hardest part about this game probably is just the fact that every character is just so completely diverse from one another, which is a positive. But also, every character has completely different utilities for all their different moves. And even in general, I think that a lot of characters just have a bunch of different moves from one another in general. Like Bugs, he has something that nobody else has, where he can kind of like crouch for a little bit. He looks through this box and then he gets items from it. Finn has like a shop. He's the only character who has a shop. For sure, the hardest part is to just learn a character in this game, which doesn't necessarily mean that you can just pick up whoever you want and play. You kind of can, but at the same time, you're going to be losing out on a lot of utility on certain characters if you just play them like they're normal characters. Like, everybody in this game has different roles and different things that they can do. Oh yeah, I was thinking about Batman, how his neutral attack is like a batarang. Like, there isn't really many other characters, I think, besides maybe Rhindog, who have like a projectile normal attack, and it's very weird. Usually I associate projectile attacks with like a special button, right? But in this game, it can be a normal attack, it can be a special, it can be a thing that you get by crouching or whatever. The character design in this game is very interesting, and all of them have some kind of doubles utility, and even then, all of them can be played in 1v1s. Even a support character like Velma or Steven can do really good on their own in 1v1s. I think that's a sign of very good character design. So yeah, I think I could go into more specifics about the characters in general. Like Shaggy was one of the ones I played the most. I think Shaggy is super duper fun. I was playing Superman a lot. Superman is definitely a tank. He just simply does not die, and he has armor on all of his grounded moves. I thought he was relatively fun to play, but I think as I played him more and more, I actually started to kind of just like, I don't know. Because I just feel like trying to stay more grounded in this game is a bit weird. It doesn't work as well as just, jumping around and stuff, because I feel like your mobility in the air is just absolutely insane in this game. You have the ability to just bob and weave as you please in any of these matches that you play, and I think it's honestly pretty easy to just run away from people in this game. I had a lot of 1v1 matches where people were using their dodges to basically perfection, and like they are dodging any single time I was approaching and then hitting me immediately with another one of their own attacks. It's a little bit frustrating to play against somebody like that. At the end of the day though, all characters basically have just as much mobility as each other. Like, there isn't really any stark differences in like movement speed, and if there is, there's most likely going to be some kind of projectile that somebody has if they are slower to compensate for that. Yeah, I'd say overall, sometimes things can be a little campy in this game, sometimes, but I think there are things that kind of counteract that too. One of the main things that counteract that is just kind of the fact that when you just move in the air, you just go really fast. You can control when you fast fall, which is really strange. And in general, if you go from a run to a jump, all your momentum carries over, which, thank goodness, I love it when platformers, I love it when platform fighting games have that, because when they don't, it's just like, oh, I feel miserable in a way. It just adds so much to the game, even though it's such a little thing. Other than that, there's also things like, I forget what they call this in game, but there is a thing where you can dodge forward and then jump at the same time, and it gives you this basically this huge horizontal boost in the air. So that's another way that you can close the gap really fast if somebody is playing a bit more reserved. There were a lot of hitboxes and a lot of moves that I was favoring to use over other moves, which in a game where there is like attack stalling, right? Which is basically like, you know, the attacks get worse the more and more you use them, or if you spam them and stuff like that. But at the same time, I felt like there were a lot of situations where I didn't have a choice but to spam a certain move, because sometimes I could only hit somebody with a certain move. So it's a little bit weird for sure. That there were a lot of times where the only thing I really could do was just run around aimlessly, it felt like, and just kind of throw hitboxes out. And I felt like a lot of the physical attacks weren't exactly hitting with some characters, specifically Bugs for sure. I think like his forward air wasn't exactly hitting all the time. I think that maybe some moves on Harley too weren't exactly hitting all the time. I think Shaggy was feeling okay, and Superman was feeling okay. So it was kind of like just one of these case by case things where sometimes it was messed up. And again, I don't know if that's just because it's so easy to bob and weave and kind of not hit people in this game too. I'm not really sure if that was just a me thing, but I was having trouble at times hitting people in this game. So I think that's just, again, just a side effect of giving players just a ton of mobility and stuff like that, which I'd rather have that than anything else. There isn't anything like wave dashing in this game really, so instead they've just given people a lot of freedom in the air. If there's anything else I want to talk about, I have played like all the characters at some point during the beta too, and yeah, a lot of them were pretty fun. I think that the only problem I was running into, which I know is fixed by now, but Taz was disappearing for me all the time, and it was kind of annoying because Taz was already annoying enough when he was visible, and then he became invisible, and it just was like, oh. I didn't have a problem with any characters in particular. I think that a lot of them were just like hard to figure out at first. It takes some time to get used to a lot of characters in this game for sure. Like the only straightforward characters I could really say are in this game are like Shaggy and Superman. Honestly, like maybe Jake too. Other than that, everybody's just kind of got some really funky stuff going on. So in some way, shape, or form, and some characters are easier to pick up than others for sure. I think like the mage class and the support class were the two that were really complicated, and then Arya too was pretty complicated to play and get into. But again, I'd rather take characters who actually take some time to learn than having every character just be basic, basically, for lack of a better term. Overall, I can't say that this game, because I know a lot of people said it feels floaty. I can't even say that, because again, you just move so fast sometimes in this game. But I can say that it feels weird. But as I was playing the game, I was getting used to it, so I don't think it's a bad thing that this game feels a little weird and different, especially as somebody who comes from playing Smash a lot. And if you master this movement, then you're going to be crazy. And I can already tell that a lot of people were trying to master the movement during the beta, and a lot of them were smoothing, and a lot of them, again, were kind of using techniques with their dodge in order to protect themselves the best they could. And the best play style that I saw was kind of not necessarily aggressive. It was more of like what I call passive aggressive, where like you just kind of, you wait for a little bit, you see where your opponent's at, and if they're approaching you, then you kind of just run away until you have the ability to attack them back. And usually, again, the way people did that was by dodging into an attack, which you can cancel dodges into attacks in this game, cancel attacks and other attacks in general, which is very fun, honestly. Kind of makes it feel like an actual fighting game in that way. And you can get some crazy combos in this game. Although one thing I do want to bring up before I'm done with gameplay that I was pretty concerned about is that I was seeing combos and even experiencing very rarely times where people were able to kind of bounce me off the ground or off a wall. People could potentially do infinites with this type of thing, where like say they do a down air and they'll cancel that down air into like some kind of multi-hit move, and then do their down air, cancel it into a down air, and just do that over and over and over again. Because a lot of moves in this game kind of suspend you in the air too. I think the best way to avoid that would be, one, to just not have moves suspend you in the air, and two, have teching. There is no teching. There's no grabs and throws and stuff like that. You attack. There's no shield except for Steven. Everything's very basic, and I think they've probably done that just because this is kind of a similar thing to what Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl was dealing with, where since they had to bring this game to multiple consoles and especially PC, they kind of had to have a button layout that supports all those things. Again, specifically PC, where like you couldn't necessarily like have, for example, a traditional smash attack. Like you'd have to actually bind that to a key if you wanted to put that in your game, and that's what Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl did. They have their light attacks and then their heavy attacks. In this game, you just have like attacks that act as kill moves and then attacks that act as more like combo moves. So yeah, when you have like a combination of all these different things, you can only do so much with your button layout, what you can do with those buttons. But I don't see a problem with teching because Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl can do it. So I don't know why this game couldn't. I don't know if that's just a design decision on their end, but I'm personally concerned about infinites just being a thing in this game, because I don't think they're going to be very hard, first of all, and people could probably learn them pretty easily. I think people were only really discovering them around the end of the beta. And second of all, I don't necessarily see a reason why there shouldn't be teching off the ground and on walls and stuff. I do like the mechanic where, you know, at some point, like in Smash Ultimate, you can't tech anymore. Like, there's just some moves that are too powerful. And like, I mean, if somebody's over 100% and they're doing an infinite on you, that's still not going to be fun. But, you know, at least you're already at kill percent. Like, I don't know. I think they kind of have to make animations for the text and stuff. And I think they probably didn't put it into account, but I think they should consider adding text in the future just to prevent infinites, because I think that's one of the reasons why they're there, not just to be a defensive option, but to also just prevent people from juggling you against the floor constantly or against walls over and over and over again. So yeah, I think that's really about my only concern. Other than that, I was having fun with the game, and I think it's balanced very well, and I think that characters are made very well. The only other thing that I could say I wasn't thrilled about was the fact that no matter what, I couldn't like pick stages when I was playing the game, because I don't know, I just like not having goofy stages. Like Scooby-Doo's Manor's cool and all, but it's a very big stage, and then there's like walls up the top that people are bouncing off of 24/7. What is it? The treetop, the Finn and Jake, the Adventure Time stage. The trees on that, like, you're supposed to kind of bounce off of them, but they were pretty like weird and glitchy. Even if they were functioning correctly, I don't necessarily think I'd want to play on that stage still. I just think, you know, I'd rather have the ability to maybe again, maybe like in Smash Ultimate, kind of set which stages I want to play on and then have a queue from there, and maybe it'll just pick randomly between my pool and my opponent's pool. I don't know, but yeah, there's very little things that I think they need to improve on at this point. They just gotta make more characters now and just keep the game fresh that way. So yeah, let's talk about the visuals next, and hopefully it will not take me 25 minutes to do this. But visuals, I think that the visuals are very good. There's basically just a very clean but distinct style to all these characters, which is really good. It's kind of like a mix between just really decent cartoon CGI and just cartoon drawing in general. I really can't say much about this. Like, stages look great, characters look great. The art style they have going to kind of like, I mean, even with Arya Stark, she's not even a cartoon character, but yet they make her fit the style that they're going for extremely well. So she fits right in, and that kind of gives me hope that, no matter who you request for this game, anybody's going to be able to fit in. So that's good. I'd say overall, they're doing a good job there, and I don't have any feedback on that. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and actually praise the visuals of this game for a second, outside of just saying that it's good. Because as an animator myself, I must say that the character animations in this game are particularly great, and no character is ever doing anything that's like out of character or doing something that you wouldn't expect. There's just not only references galore, but just in general, every character feels like you're playing the character, and that is exceptional to me. I think that's probably one of the best parts about this game, is just how well gameplay and visuals kind of come together in order to make these characters feel exactly the way they should. So yeah, again, no feedback on anything visual wise on this game. It's pretty much perfect, to be honest. So audio up next. I think this might be one of the weaker things in the game. I think that a lot of things were kind of just blending together for me. Like, when it comes to the music, I like hearing it on its own for sure, and I think it sounds really good. And like, orchestra music is just great and grandiose. But when I'm playing in game, it doesn't necessarily feel that way. I feel like it feels more like background noise with how intense Multiversus is at times, right? And just how chaotic it is. This like serene orchestra music isn't exactly catching my attention as I play the game. I also think that when it comes to like hit sound effects too, those aren't anything crazy. Again, I barely kind of noticed them. Some of them are good, like when you hit people with like bats or pans or something, or like a hammer. There's like characters where like if they're hitting you with an object, then it sounds pretty good. But I think again, some physical attacks just sound, like whatever. Like I don't have an opinion on it. It doesn't sound like anything's crazy going on a lot of the time. Sometimes it sounds like you're getting hit by an impactful move, but not all the time. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but yeah, that's just how I feel on that. I've put other features here. That's kind of going into like maybe accessibility stuff, and the accessibility options in this game are actually extremely robust from what I've seen. And I mean, you can put outlines on your characters. You have like color blindness. You have like a bunch of different control options and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. You maybe put the battle pass in here, although that kind of goes into like longevity and stuff. Leveling up is good, and the rewards you get for that is fine. I wish for how much you can level up, I wish there are more things that you could unlock, or just in general, like I know after you reach level 15, for example, like you don't unlock anything after that, but you can still just keep on leveling up forever. I wish maybe every 5 levels or so you just get like a XP boost or something. Just something, man, to get you going. I think that the ranking system in this game, like seeing what rank you are, is decent. I think training mode is pretty decent. The tutorial was pretty decent. I could definitely see maybe a tutorial talking about attack canceling though, and what you can do with that. If Tekken gets added in, they could add that in there too. I would also, for training, again, this would help alleviate one of my problems. I would really like to see a character tutorial thing for each character in the game. It just kind of like specifically talks about what each thing does, because even as a new player, when I was looking through what some characters could do, I was kind of just reading a lot of things. I'm like, okay, I don't know what like a weaken is, or what, this thing Taz does is. Turns out, you play and then he turns you into a chicken. It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, just a bunch of other tutorial type of things where you get to learn about status effects and just learn about your character in general would be really good. I think that, what else is there in this game? I think the challenges are fun. They're always engaging. I thought that lobbies were pretty good just in general. And I guess the elephant in the room here I haven't talked about is perks. Perks were really interesting, but at the end of the day, they weren't like game-changing things. They were just this fun little side thing. I know that something like the Gray Health perk, for example, ended up being really overpowered in competitive play, but they fixed that at this point, and yeah, that's going to be good. So just keep that up. Just as long as they're only these little things that only affect the game a small amount, then I'm happy with them. And they're also never going to be like a pay to win type of thing. You're always going to only be able to unlock them, so that's good. Going back into the lobbies, like just being able to see the people you played with last, along with getting your friends online. And I had no problem. My friend was playing on an Xbox One, I was playing on a PS4. We had no problems ever getting into a lobby together, so that's good. I played a little bit with like custom lobbies too. That was fine. Nothing wrong with that. And I couldn't really tell you what exactly I would want from the game. Any other features. I know that they've, again, basically confirmed that there's going to be an arcade mode, and they're going to be making it bare bones at first, but then just adding on to it as time goes on. So that's exciting. Again, I guess like outside of single player stuff like that, I really don't know what else I could possibly want. So yeah, let's go into online then, since I've already talked about it a little bit. So again, console I was playing on was PlayStation 4, and when I played against anybody in 1v1 matches, I would say like 80% of the time I was not feeling lag, and my connections were good, and that's very good. It's very good for an online game, so good on them. But when I was playing 2v2s, I definitely felt lag in a majority of my matches, and I think this is something more of like maybe a 65 to 35 ratio of like my games being laggy compared to being smooth and not stuttery or anything like that. Which I can't even sit here and act like it's an easy thing to do, to make a platform fighting game, or just a fighting game in general, or 4 people are playing together with rollback, and to make that smooth must be like extremely hard. Again, the team at Multiversus, their goal is to literally make the best multiplayer experience ever in any game. They're gonna put their all into that aspect of things. They find that to be one of the most important things to put their resources into. So I have faith that through these tests that they've been doing, that hopefully they're going to be fixing up and kind of like, I guess, streamlining their rollback netcode to a point where connections will be more smooth than not. Like at the very least, if I had a 50-50 instead of like a 65-35, I would be happy for sure. And I think that would kind of defy my expectations at that point about the idea of what you could do with rollback netcode, honestly. One of the reasons why I got disenfranchised with Smash Brothers and why I stopped playing it online was just because I could not do 4-player matches online. it was just literally always impossible to play free-for-all matches without the lag just being so unbearably terrible. And it was unfortunate because I absolutely did want to play that type of style, but I just ended up instead only really was able to play 1v1s and nothing else, and that sucks. It sucks to even just be good at something like Smash Ultimate, man. It's painful sometimes because you can be an elite Smash but still feel like you're absolute trash at the game or something. Like you're not thinking 7 parallel universes ahead like your opponent is, you know. Like a lot of my opponents, whenever I get on Elite Smash, are just like know-it-alls at this point because the game's been out for so many years and I'm still just not taking the game that seriously. So to be up against people like that 24/7 is not fun, and I do like to have a casual experience on the side, and I already have done basically everything you possibly could do in Smash Ultimate. So like the online experience is the thing that always brings something unique. So having team battles along with 1v1s, having functional online, is going to help the replayability of this game for me a lot personally. So, and then one more category and then we are done talking. Let's talk about longevity, and again this goes into the battle pass. The battle pass, I mean, for me, I am not the person to talk to when it comes to buying cosmetics and buying emotes and buying anything in a free-to-play game. Anything that's cosmetic ever, I do not give a single crap about in any game ever, and that's just how I am. But with that being said, the things that they put out, I can tell, are high quality, and they're nice. And when I was unlocking things from the Battle Pass, because it was free during the closed beta, I was enjoying myself. But in this open beta, you're going to have to buy the Battle Pass in order to get the things that you want. I'm not going to bother, because I never bother. That doesn't necessarily mean that nobody else will. People definitely will. People will love the cosmetics in this game. They will buy them for a very long time, and that's good. And again, going back to longevity, we already talked about how they're planning on adding single-player content. They might do events, which would be cool. They just have maybe, just like any other these types of live service games where they kind of put out a mode for a limited time. That could be fun. They're going to be adding new stages whenever. It's not going to be tied to seasons. They will be having seasons, specifically probably just for the Battle Pass, and then they're going to probably end up giving out characters to play and stages all for free. By the way, they're never going to charge for characters and stages and things that add actual, like, I guess, content in the game. Not saying that cosmetics aren't actual content, but you know what I mean, like actual new things that actually affect gameplay are not ever going to be sold in this game, according to them. So that's really good, and they're constantly going to be rolling stuff out, and they said that they want to support this game for as long as players want new things in the game. So I would say with something like that, with a team that's just, I mean, the director literally said, we owe our existences to the player base at this point. So if they literally spend the rest of their lives making things for the game, then that's what they're going to do. Even before Smash Ultimate ended, and thinking about how exactly you could top Smash Ultimate as just like the best platform fighting game ever, and this was just me thinking how Smash was going to do it, right? I said the only way, and again, I swore I probably thought this up in like 2017, so I feel validated now, but the only way you can top something like Smash Ultimate is if you essentially make a free-to-play game that gets supported for like at least a decade. And as long as you do that, then maybe you can surpass the roster of Smash Ultimate. and you can surpass the amount of stages that Smash Ultimate has and all the items and all the other things, yeah, that's when you can do that. But I think Multiversus, if it's supported for decades to come, which would be insane, then yeah, I think that it could possibly surpass Smash Ultimate as this game that just never ever stopped getting supported, has this huge roster, has a huge selection of stages. I don't think they'll ever get to the level of Smash Ultimate on both of those fronts, on both characters and stages, but they could get close, and they have a library of characters who are, I'm not going to sit here and say they're just iconic as the characters in Smash Ultimate, but they are very, very iconic in their own right. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this game goes. If there's always something to look forward to, then that will make me very, very happy, honestly, because again, you can literally make Punch Time Explosion 2, but it's actually a good game within this game. And yeah, I mean, story mode, maybe. Depends on how supported this game is, and I hope that this isn't just some niche thing that a lot of people will actually come along here. The competitive scene, at the very least, is already getting a lot more support, so that's good. It's good to create that very hardcore fan base around this game that's going to constantly build a buzz around this game and talk about how amazing it is, so that casuals will constantly be looking into it and have it in their face all the time. And at that point, this game will become undeniable. So that's what they need to do, and they're gonna do it, and it's gonna be great. So yeah, those are my very in-depth thoughts about Multiversus. But if you have any questions for me that I haven't talked about, because I know I didn't cover everything, there's no way that I did, then just leave a comment for me and ask me about certain aspects of the game. If you happen to have a question, I will answer it, just to condense my thoughts and a nice little conclusion. I think this game is very fun. It's a bit weird. It's a bit hard to get used to, but when you do get used to it, and when you especially play doubles in this game, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to play with a friend. It's surprisingly easy to pick up and play. The characters feel exactly the way they should. The art style is great. Any character could be in this game. This game could be supported for an extremely long time. The online was not the best for this beta, but I have confidence that they're going to make it better for sure, since they're doing the right things right now and doing beta tests like this to test out their rollback and to test out their netcode is exactly what they need to do, and they're going to continue to improve on things until this game, man, I mean, I just can't imagine where this game's going to go, man. It has a lot of potential. It has a lot of potential to be extremely big, and I'm never going to sit here and say that it's going to be the Smash Killer, because that's just, honestly, that's just a toxic mindset that nobody should ever have. We should always try and make sure that all these types of games are successful. We should make sure that we want all of these types of games to prosper and to be good and to stand out on their own and stuff like that, instead of trying to find every single which way to compare one game to another and determine which one's better or whatever. No, let's just enjoy all these games that we get, and that doesn't even just go for platform fighting games. That just goes for every genre, right? It goes for everything, because most games are always inspired by something else, and it's never a guarantee that, it's usually extremely unlikely that one game that's inspired by another is going to surpass the game that it's inspired by. We shouldn't be looking for that. We should just be looking to have fun and to get excited for the possibilities of certain games and how big they can get, and for their futures, for the futures of these video games, and for the futures of the creators too, and what they want to do. If they don't want to support this one game anymore and want to go to a new one, then we should be excited that they're making a new game. Yeah, let me stop before I go into a rant, and I'll see you guys on the next video. It's going to be a platform fighter showcase. It's probably going to be uploaded, well, I don't know when, but I'll see you then. Bye.